Hey everybody, this is Darren Sabedra again with the Bay Area News Group, East Bay Times, Mercury News, here with Mike Lefkow. Mike, obviously we're in some uncharted territory with regards to high school sports, but obviously as many administrators and coaches have said through the weekend, it's nothing obviously compared to what's going on up in Paradise, up in the Chico area where lives have been lost and 6,000 homes have burnt. Just an absolute disaster going on up there that is causing all of the bad air coming through the Bay Area. And the reason we're here talking about postponements and rescheduled football games and not games that are being played on the field.
Yeah, obviously it's a tragedy what happened in Paradise and Chico. And I think we all know people who've been affected by this. I used to cover Stanford University with a guy who had a home in Paradise. A friend of mine, since I've known for many years, she had to leave her home in Chico because of the fire. So you feel for these people. I mean, obviously it's an inconvenience that these games are being postponed, but at the same time, it's a postponement of a high school football game. There's no homes lost, and like I say, your heart goes out to the people up there, and you get these games in when you can.
Right, and obviously our colleague Dan Brown wrote yesterday from the 49ers game about the Paradise football team, which was a guest of the 49ers at the game last night against the Giants. Many of the players and coaching staff lost their homes in the fire. They qualified for the playoffs with an 8-2 record and elected to just call the rest of their season given the devastation that they're all going through. But the 49ers made a nice gesture, as did their opponent over the weekend, which had offered to step aside and allow Paradise to move on in the playoffs, and Paradise opted not to do that. But the 49ers, in the meantime, had the Paradise football team sent buses out to Chico, I believe, and then they traveled 200 miles or so to Levi Stadium last night, and they were on the sideline, met some of the players on both sides, met general manager John Lynch from the 49ers. So a nice gesture on the part of the team.
Yeah, big shout out to the 49ers for doing that. And you just feel for these kids at Paradise High School, the coaching staff, everybody. I mean, you lose a home. I mean, you can't think of many things worse. I mean, there are some worse things, I suppose, but this is a bad one.
Right. As for on the field, CIF made news today on Tuesday. They, after a conference call with the 10 section commissioners or representatives of each of the sections, decided that they would push back the state championship by a week and the Northern California regional championships by a week to allow the sections that have had to postpone and reschedule games an extra week to get playoffs in. A nice gesture on the part of the CIF. We'll see if that's going to help out, given that the forecast going forward is still showing poor air quality, at least through Friday, from what I've seen in reports in the Bay Area News Group.
Yeah, and I heard the same thing on the radio coming to work today, that they're predicting bad air quality through Friday night. So hopefully by Saturday they'll be able to get the games in. There's some rain in the forecast for next week. They didn't say how much, but hopefully it'll be enough to start clearing the air.
Right. They do still have a little bit of wiggle room. They could still reschedule games if they have to postpone yet another day or two. They could reschedule for next Monday and Tuesday and still conceivably could play the following weekend. I don't think they would do that in the NCS Open. In fact, I'm almost 100% sure. We talked to Gil Lemon about this. They have some flexibility with that division because they could play it on Thanksgiving weekend, the championship game, De La Salle against Liberty or Clayton Valley, or they could move it back until the weekend of November 30th, December 1st. So they do have a little bit of flexibility with that. But the other divisions, they've got to get the quarterfinal round in by, I would guess, next Tuesday to be able to play the following weekend.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't play
Wednesday or Thursday.
I mean, even Tuesday would be difficult because if you play Tuesday, well, you could push those games back till Monday.
Tuesday to Monday.
Right, which would be okay. That'd be like having a Saturday night game and then playing the next Friday. But yeah, I mean, wiggle room is starting to run out.
Right. But at least they now have the extra week, which is something that, they did not have as of this morning. Now, the NCS has taken a preemptive measure again, and they're going to have a conference call tomorrow with the executive committee of the section to discuss contingency plans, i.e. if they don't get those games in this weekend, but also other sports. So, I mean, we talked to Gil Lemon, he sounded like he had been through the ringer. I mean, it's just been a rough few days trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been tough on everyone,
right.
And we talk only about football, but water polo is affected, and cross country is affected, and team tennis.
He said they were only through the first round. One team hadn't played a first round game.
Yeah, didn't they say Miramani and Berkeley or something? Yeah.
Right.
So. Yeah, it's affected a lot of different.
And they're
sports.
under a timeline with water polo because the Northern California Championships are Friday and Saturday of this week.
Yeah.
So they have to have They have to have their teams ready by Thursday.
Well, unless they move some of the NorCals back too.
They're going to talk about that. What was on the agenda? Because they were talking about team tennis, football, and water polo on the NCS agenda with its executive committee for tomorrow morning. And they're going to discuss whether to, if they don't complete a playoff, to just have the higher seed go, choose not to send anyone at all, or flip a coin. So
yeah,
we'll see. Well, let's assume we do have football coming up this weekend. Which games are you looking forward to the most? Are they the same that you were looking forward to last week when we did the preview for the games that still have not been played?
Yeah, I am. I'm still curious about the same games I was about last week.
Liberty, Clayton
Valley, Monte Vista, San Ramon. I've been very curious about Marin Catholic and Granada. But I think the thing we're going to have to get used to is execution is going to be down. A lot of these games are going to be like first season openers.
Crowd size might not be
big. Crowd size I think will be down.
Nobody knows when these games, everybody's like, when are they playing, when are they not playing? So
well, the excitement that you had for these games is kind of diminished now. I mean, you take Clayton Valley Liberty, I think a lot of people were really fired up about that game, but now it's been postponed, and I mean, I'm still sure there's going to be excitement, but it's just not going to be the same. And execution is not going to be the same. It's going to be like watching the first game of a season, and you know how first games of the season go.
Right. I think that sometimes, first games, the teams can be sharp, but the big question is how sharp, given that these teams have not been able to practice outside for the most part. I mean, a lot of them have been going through walkthroughs in gyms because the air is so bad that they can't go out and practice.
No, that's why I'm saying I think there's going to be a lot of mistakes, especially early in games. I think first halves are going to be. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how some of these teams get through the first half.
Right.
But what are you going to do? I mean, it's like I say, there's bigger fish to fry, and it's just one of those things.
So we'll see if we can get through the games this weekend, and that would put them back on, I guess, the new schedule to get through to the state games or the regional games and then the state games. And the CCS is going through the same thing down in the South Bay and the Peninsula. They were able to get 5 of their 20 first-round games in last weekend, but all 5 of those games were played in the southern end of the section, and that section stretches from San Francisco down to King City. So a lot of those games were played. One down in Gonzales, they had one in Carmel, so one, I believe, in Salinas. So they were able to play games down south, the southern end of the section, but they still have 15 first-round games to be played this weekend. But they have 18 brackets, so they have now with the extra week, they've got 3 weekends as long as they can get games in this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, even if you're able to get a bunch of games in this weekend, who knows what's going to happen after that? This fire is only 30% contained, so there's a lot of fire left, and predictions are this fire will not be completely out until the end of November, if even then. So. Wind changes and the weather changes could affect it beyond next weekend.
Right. Well, we've all gotten used to monitoring now air quality index numbers, which can fluctuate quickly. I mean, in Concord on Friday night, we'll discuss the two games that we actually did cover over the weekend. In Concord on Friday night, where De La Salle played host to Pittsburgh and beat Pittsburgh 38-0, the AQI was 61 at kickoff, according to the data that I looked at on my phone, and I don't think it was much worse in Antioch where you were to see Antioch lose to Vintage.
No, as I recall, the AQI was somewhere in the mid-70s, which is fine.
Right.
The only thing that wasn't fine was Antioch, but that was quite an upset. Vintage has got a good team, though. Give them credit.
Right, and De La Salle looked sharp. Scored 17 points in the first 7.5 minutes against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense kind of got its sea legs a little bit and played a much better second quarter, but De La Salle went on to win 38-0 to end Pittsburgh's season, a season that began with such high hopes. I remember going out there over the summer with you to talk to Victor Galley and Jacob Bandis, and Bandis, the last two games, was unable to play because of a hip injury, which a big loss for the Pirates. He did hold play cards up, those big gigantic play cards on Friday night on the sideline for his teammates, and Victor Galley, I think, had the line of the night where he said that he plays defense better than he holds play cards.
Well, and as far as Vintage goes, whoever I think they would play Monte Vista or San Ramon, the winner of that game. Vintage is a team to be careful of. They had not won a playoff game in 32 years until they beat James Logan in the first round, and then they won again on Friday. And they are a good team. They're well coached. They follow their game plan, and they don't get nervous.
Right. As always, check out our coverage, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. Sign up for the newsletter, which is free. We also have a special deal for subscriptions if you want to sign up for a subscription where you can get all those links for free, and you can get everything on the Bay Area News Group website. I think it's like 12 cents a day.
That's a good deal.
That's not a bad deal. 12 cents a day, $43 for the year. It's not bad. So if you want to sign up and read us regularly, like I said, 12 cents a day. Anything else before we wrap this up here in
No, I think all we can do is hope that they get some games in this weekend and that the air starts to clear. But first and foremost, let's hope they get these fires under control.
Right, and again, thoughts out to what's gone on in Paradise and all those people who are suffering or who have lost loved ones and obviously lost many, many homes.
Yeah, deadliest fire in California.
History.
California history.
Right. All right, that's a wrap here from Walnut Creek. That's where we are, Walnut Creek. All right, take care.